and welcome to Evilginger Miniatures role-playing reviews. This one is going to be a little bit different because I don't really have a role-playing game to review today. What I am doing is introducing a role-playing concept which I have had some experience but very little experience of over the decades I've actually been role-playing and GMing and so forth. And that's the concept of diceless games, where you don't actually roll maths rocks to determine whether or not something happens. And you have another mechanic. And I don't mean card draw games or things that use dice substitutes. These are completely dice-less. And there's no random chance picking mix. It's not like the Malifaux role-playing game where you, I think it's called Through the Bridge. Never played it. Lovely setting. Would love to, but again, it's not something I've got around to doing. But games where there are no dice involved at all and no dice replacement involved. So you've got no mechanic. I like that. Now, I've played, to my recall, and it might be more than this, but I definitely have memories of two of them, both from a while ago. The first was the original Amber role-playing game, set in Roger Zelany's Amber universe, where you were pretty much the equivalent of the protagonist in those games, in those books, and you were sort of demigod level powerful. That game, I don't remember a great deal about it, but I do remember very strongly that the diceless mechanic didn't work in it, because we got what has amounted to a system where everything you wanted to do was filtered by the GM, and if the GM liked the idea, it succeeded, and if the GM didn't like the idea, it failed. Didn't matter what, and you rather felt railroaded in that your decisions were being led in the direction that the GM wanted you to go, and if you didn't come up with thoughts he thought, things he agreed with, or things that occurred to him or were part of the plot, you were stuck. And I don't remember it being a very fun experience. On the other hand, I more recently played one of the Marvel superhero games which didn't use dice at all, or an equivalent. Each character had a number of resources, be they strength or whatever ability, and you basically were playing a bidding game. You didn't know what you were bidding against, the value you were bidding against, but there was a target number that the GM knew or said, but you were bidding your attributes against that. And if you overbid a GM's target number, then fine. But you had absolute choice as to what you did. And if you underbid the GM's number, the thing didn't work. That was the basic mechanics. As I say, I didn't GM it, I don't own the rule set, so I'm really not sure how it works in finer detail than that. But it was an awful lot of fun. The other bit about it was that your resources recharged, but they didn't recharge as fast as you could potentially spend them. So it was like a resource allocation board game where you were trying to juggle, do I want to do this now, or can I let myself not fail? It was there was a lot of thinking about, income and outgoing of these ability points. As I say, I haven't read the rule book, I don't know the mechanics, but I played it and a couple of sessions and it was great fun. But it was also a diceless system. And this leaves me in a dilemma. I've had a bad experience with the diceless system, and I've had a good experience with the diceless system. And one of my very good friends is a great fan of a diceless system, which he talked to me at great length about the last time we met. Now, I've never played this diceless system, and I've only listened to what he said about it, and he's a thorough fan. But how do I judge it? Well, what I'm thinking of doing, and I've been in contact with the author, I believe it was an expansion to it was on Kickstarter recently. It may still be on Kickstarter, but what with other things going on here, I probably didn't get back to him as quickly as I could. But I said something's going on, but I'm going to try and arrange an interview with him. because I want to talk through the pros and cons of diceless systems with him as I've experienced them, and I want to learn a bit about his system. Now, I can't at this point remember what it's called, which is wonderful because I've been dealing with other stuff today and it has gone completely out of what's left of my mind. So I will post that in the comments under this one when I put it up. But basically, I want you to think about diceless systems and whether they're for you or not. I mean, I'm not sure because I don't have enough data, literally, to work out whether they are or not. I play the Marvel game again in a moment, and I wouldn't play Amber. I think it was Amber anyway. As I say, it was a very long time ago. But then there's the other thing to consider. A lot of games, even really bad games, can be made good by a decent GM. I remember playing a long time ago the original FASA Doctor Who game, which was, by all accounts, absolutely awful. But we had a dedicated Doctor Who fan as a GM who was a damn good GM, and everybody that was involved in it had a thoroughly good time. We felt we were in the universe, and we were doing things in the universe, and we weren't, it was a really good game. Game system allegedly sucked. I wasn't aware of it at the time because it was pre-internet and you didn't know other people's opinions of things. You knew your local group's opinion of it. And this was that FASA's Doctor Who was good with the chap that was GMing it. However, was my bad experience with Amber due to the fact the GM was rubbish, wasn't good at GMing, and was my experience with Marvel mostly due to the fact that the GM both appreciated the universe it was set in and was good at her job? Don't know. This is another factor that you have to think about, because an experience of a game is often the experience of the game and the person running it. For example, one of my favourite games is Hackmaster, which is a D&D type style game that's very much like first edition D&D in the feel, but the mechanics are different. Now, depending on who runs it, it's a completely different game. If I run it, it works one way. If another friend runs it, it works another way. And if the third friend does it, it's all complete. It's very GM experience, but I like the game. The game is excellent, if very, very old school, clunky, chunky and granular. I mean, the critical hit system itself is a masterpiece of sort of old school stuff. But I'll review that later. This is the review of that. But again, the point I'm trying to get across is my experience of a game, or anybody's experience of a game, being good or bad, objective based on the mechanics, or subjective based on a combination of the game and the way the GM GMs it. And that's been something I think about quite a lot. And again, 5th Ed D&D, which I'm sure everybody knows, but a lot of the quality in that depends on the GM, because from my opinion as an experienced GM, the mechanics of the original 2014 version are, well, they'll suit, they're workable. I've not played the 2024 one, but from what I gather and what I've seen of it, it's very much the same sort of level of mechanical aptitude, and so it's an okay game, very much dependent on how the DM delivers it to you as a player and the team and the players that you're playing with. Because again, that's another thing. If you've got an absolute idiot in the group who is out for doing things which you don't do in role-playing games, like trying to win them and trying to score points off people, and all the obnoxious things that people can do in role-playing games, because it's a group dynamic thing, and we're social animals, and part of being a social animal is there's often people can be arseholes, basically, to not to put too fine a point on it. So Was that part of my experience? I don't know in these particular cases. So anyway, I'm going to be talking to this gentleman about his new Diceless role-playing system. I'm probably going to be having it on StreamYards, and we'll have a chat about it, and we'll see what it is about his game that makes it a good game, as difficult as it is to work that one out, because it is difficult, and I've only touched on things that can affect your experience of a game. I mean, it's very much like a computer game where if you get frustrated at various points because you can't do things, it may be you don't like it, even though it's technically a very good game. I mean, the Dark Souls games I had a crack at, and they drove me up the wall because you had to do. I got fed up with the choke points. I didn't play Elden Ring, but I saw a good player running through it, and it seemed to be a better game in that there were places to go and things to do if you got stuck. Whereas the linear nature of the Dark Souls games struck me as being something that would drive me up the wall, and stop me from playing the later ones. Again, that's a subjective experience. Less subjective probably than the role-playing situation, because that is very sort of fluffy and cloudy, and got a lot more variables, whereas a computer game is a computer game. But how do you assess? Is a game bad because it's not for you, or is it good regardless of whether it's your game or not? I like strategy games. I like world builders on planet and that sort of thing. But they're not for everybody. And again, does that make them a good bad game or a bad game? Don't know. Same thing with role playing. But even harder to define, I feel. Anyway, I think that's going to be about enough for now. I'm playing with the lighting, so I'm trying to avoid being washed out. I think the lights over the arcing light is a bit bright, but I need to sort this out. I've currently got the uplighter over there on and this on bright white. This I can see to modelling, but that's also part of the filming. I'm doing various lighting tests, and I need to talk to my editor about lighting. The other thing about lighting is that there is an arm here which gets in the way that an arm over here wouldn't, but I don't know whether I could get the arm which clamps the desk in the right place. But with that little aside into how on earth I set up the whole filming environment, I will leave you for this week. Thank you very much, and take care. And remember, for the benefit of the editor, please like this video and subscribe. Thank you very much, and goodbye.